Hey, babe, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I love you and God loves you best. Welcome back to my channel. We are here for another review of Married at First Sight. This is season 18 and we are discussing episode 4, Wedding Bliss or Miss. Yes. And I did that all off the top of my dome because I had damn sure forgot. This episode was good enough for what it was. We saw the couples the day after the wedding and waking up and finally realizing, oh shit, it's somebody next to me. And they go into their honeymoon. So let's just get into it. It's a whole lot to unpack. It's a 2-hour show. I think that's what gets me. It's 2 freaking hours, and sometimes it could just be like dragging out. So I'm not gonna drag it out. So we start off with Madison and Alan, and they start the morning off. They wake up, they give a little kiss, and they get ready for breakfast. They have a brief discussion of what they should look forward to, and they both agree that they just want to, look forward to experiencing the journey and taking it day by day and learning more about each other. The usual. They also discuss their previous relationships. It's been 3 years since Madison has been in her previous relationship. It's only been about a year since Alan ended his most recent relationship. Here's how I feel about that. They say that the amount of time that you were in that relationship is the amount of time that you need to spend with self. So if he was in that relationship for 4 years, he should at least give himself 2 to heal and to understand what it was that went wrong in that relationship so that he doesn't carry that baggage into a new relationship. And you want to get back to a place where you feel whole and you feel at peace with self. That's the most important thing. I don't feel like anybody should get into a relationship if they aren't at peace with self. If you can't have quality time all by your lonesome, you don't need to be in a relationship. And that is my opinion, and I'm speaking candidly. So, but maybe he fast-tracked it because he went through therapy. And I feel like that is a good look. Some people shun therapy. Some people are embarrassed by it. I embrace it. I was recently in therapy, and I love the process. Right now I'm in the process of getting another therapist, but I love the process. So when you are able to speak to someone impartial, neutral, and away from the situation, and they can be totally honest because they have nothing to gain or lose in the situation. Maybe a patient. Madison shares with Alan that he is completely opposite of her type. And she also expressed that, but even in that she is open, and thus far she is pleased and happy with how things are going, because while he may not be her type aesthetically, his personality is shining through and it is winning her over. So, yeah. Now I'm going to tell you what rubbed me raw. Alan's mother, when she was sitting up there and she was crying and chewing and with food in her mouth, pet peeve for me. They talked about pet peeves. Well, my pet peeve is spit. I don't like spit. I don't like anything just looking like salivation or look like just talking about it makes me want to go and get something to drink. I can't. But she had food in her mouth and she was talking, and I was like, that's not cute. It's not cute at all, and it's a bad impression. I hope that, that's not a reflection. I hope that's just her and not a reflection of Alan. You know what I mean? Because she is older, and I'm not age shaming or nothing like that. But sometimes when you get older, you do things unconsciously. Or maybe that's just her. Either way, it was very off-putting. Madison shares when she's sitting with Alan's family that she has optimistic expectations, but she's a realist and she knows that compatibility is paramount. Then when Alan was sitting with Madison's family, it was her father, the brother, and the sister. And the dad just comes in and was like, full throttle, I just want to know, have you been tested for STDs or STIs? And I'm like, oh. I think Alan handled that very graciously and matter-of-factly. He was like, yes, I have. Before we came on, I was tested, even though I haven't been sexually active in some time. I still went ahead and got tested, which I thought that was a good way for him to go ahead and close that up, answer the question, but wrap it up and move on. His family shares with Madison that he's a dreamer. Madison's sister expresses to Alan that he is definitely not her sister's type. Because he asked, in any other normal setting, would I have a chance walking down the street with her? And she was like, absolutely not. Okay. But she said, your personality, like I said, your personality is waning through. And that is what has us enamored with you thus far. And he's like, I don't even really know what that term is. Pretty boy. Could you define pretty boy? And so Madison later on shares that, it's very overly, I'm paraphrasing, overly manicured, like she said, metrosexual. And I always said a metro was a homo posing as a hetero. Now we got Carla and Juan. We see Carla, in a nutshell, Carla want to be kept. Carla came in this thing manifesting somebody is going to take care of me. You got to remember, Carla is a hairdresser. She is a Pilates instructor. And she is a sound healer. I said a spirit guide last time, but she's a sound healer. So yeah, she's trying to fuck up on some. She's trying to use what she got to get what she want. So we see Juan with her family and they're talking. I really don't remember anything that was said on that end. Oh, yes, I do. I remember the sister asking Juan about supporting his wife, supporting Carla. And he's like, well, I'm gonna need her to work because I'm not rich. I got a startup, and not that I need her to financially support me, but I need her to be financially independent and also be a contributor to our marriage financially, which I don't see anything wrong with that. They don't know each other. So she should go in saying, hey, let me make sure that I'm still keeping everything intact and check with me, because nothing is promised, right? Right. And she still got bills to pay. So then we have Carla with Juan's family, and the daddy automatically, Poppy's like, what do you do? How do you make your money? And that's when she goes into telling him about her 3 jobs, and he's like, I believe in 50-50. I believe you should bring something to the table. So that in itself solidified what their belief as far as Juan and his dad. They were aligned. They were like right here. Carla, I could see it on her face that she wasn't ready, and she took it in. I don't know how much she received it, but she took it in. Earlier that day, before they met with the parents, they were having their breakfast, and Juan was saying how he doesn't usually drink coffee during the week. He drinks like fresh pressed juices, like carrot juice and things of that nature, like fresh juiced products. And Carla says, oh my gosh, I do too. She's like, I do it every day. He's like, oh, you juice? She said, no, I buy. And he's like, oh, that's expensive. They're like $11 a pop. And she said in her confessional, actually they're $13, but I mean, he don't need to know that. She is expensive. I mean, it's cool if you got it, but if you are dependent on somebody else's dime, you have an expensive palate. Like I said, the daddy told her he believed in 50-50. And Carla's retort to that was, well, I believe it all depends. It's a case-by-case scenario. So then we have Thomas and Camille. Thomas and Camille, they seem like they are hitting it off really well. Thomas kind of remind me of my ex, Bevan. Like, he didn't give much personality, but he could be engaging. He was very knowledgeable. In my case, this is just a boyfriend. This is not my ex-husband, not my husband, but just an ex. He was very smart, but he was more introverted, and that's how I see Thomas. Thomas, even though he's a twin, an identical twin, but I can tell them apart. He is an introvert, and I don't know what it's going to take for him to open up a little more and just get comfortable and live. Just be in the moment. I don't know what it's going to take for him, but I really hope he gets there. The first conversation they have is about the 10-year age difference, and he asked Camille how she felt about dating an older person. And she said actually she prefers dating older men because it kind of takes out some of that curve where, like I said, subtract 7. They're not always as mature, so maybe the older they are, you get a little bit more maturity. And so Thomas expresses in his confessional, he's like, he has concerns because he wants children soon. Like, she's 32, and so he's like, he wants children soon, and he doesn't know like how that might translate in this whole situation because he's looking to have children right away. And I would say right away, I would think anything reasonable if you're anticipating that this is going to work. I mean, 2 years, 2 years is reasonable. That is, well, here's the thing. They're married. Even though they're married, they're dating. So where it would be 2 years, normal 2 years in actual counting time for people who met organically, I feel like theirs is like doubled. So if it was 2 years for the organic relationship, then it's 4 years for the arranged relationship. And I say that because it wasn't your choice. So now you're coming in with apprehension where you didn't have that apprehension when you met them on your own. When you said, I choose you, it was because it was free will. So you're more whimsical, you're more carefree. Where here, guards are up. Because I don't want to use the word manufactured, but it was arranged and other people were involved in producing your relationship. So to think about saying, oh, well, yeah, we're married, and then in 2 years, let's think about having children. Where this whole process is 8 weeks, and you got cameras in your face, and you got all eyes on, and you got millions of people watching. That's a lot of expectation and a lot of pressure. So while you want to think about talking about those things, if you don't see where there is true chemistry, why bring it up? I think for me, it might stay really superficial if I was in this situation. I mean, I would touch on certain things that matter to me, that I'm like, okay, let's discuss these things and what they mean and what they look like if we anticipate staying together. But just all in, and no, there would be a little restraint on some things. I wouldn't go all in. No, I can't say that I would. So when they meet with each other's families, I will say that Thomas's family was very light on Camille. It was very cordial. The brother was just saying, hope you're able to bring him out of his shell, and asked him, how do you think you might be able to do that? She's like, well, as I learn him, I'll get to know more of what he likes, what makes him tick, if he has any pet peeves, or, what makes him shut down. And his brother then explained that, if he ever feels like he's being overly criticized. So that stuck out to me. When you say overly criticized, are you saying like he's not receptive to, I don't feel like anybody should be receptive to criticism, but you should be receptive to feedback. You should be open to reflect on things that you could better about yourself. So if someone tells you something that they've observed, it's no problem to receive it, reflect on it, and if it's something that's true, then you say, okay, if you choose to, if you're happy with that part of you, how it is, like, well, that's how I am and I'm not changing it. But if you feel like it's something that you can improve on, you ask yourself, what is it that I could do to work on this or change this habit or this situation? Okay, that's fair. But to just be like closed off and just shut down because someone told you something about you. I mean, because hey, I was always taught rake in the good, push away the bad. it may not even be anything that you need to hold in your mind. You hear it, you don't hear it. You see it, you don't see it. But that stuck out to me, that he was like, it's almost like I translated that as to handle him with kid gloves when it comes to certain matters. And then they asked her, was she ready for a husband? And she said, absolutely. I don't feel like I could do a process like this if I wasn't wholeheartedly ready. That's fair. That's enough for me. And then Tim? Is it Tim and Thomas? Thomas's brother, asked what are her intentions. And she's like, I don't want to sound cliche or anything, but I'm just looking for my one. And she's looking for her other half. And there's nothing wrong with that. You chose a process. You instead of going to a professional matchmaker, you went to the ultimate. You went to they enlisted a spiritual counselor. They have a pastor for spiritual guidance. They have a therapist, a clinical psychologist, and for that aspect, for the honing and the nurturing of the relationship. And then they also have a sex, I hate when they use the word expert, but a subject matter expert in the area of sex. So I feel like if I can't go in telling somebody, okay, this is how I am, this is what I'm looking for, these are my quirks, these are my perks, and you put it all in a thing and you see if you can pop out any compatible matches for me, and you may have some and you may not, but you make the decision based on what I gave to you and what you've gotten from me to go out and find someone that you felt like was good for me, would be good for me. So it didn't have, while physical attraction is something that is important, you got to be able to understand that it's not everything. Okay. So they bring up about the kids again, and she's like, oh yeah, I'm definitely open to, discussing starting a family within the next 2 years. And they were like really happy about that. So moving right along, we have, I'm going to go with MM and Akechi. So MM and Akechi, so neither of them drink coffee. They slept well, and they start talking about what to look forward to meeting each other's families. Now, I think Akechi asked, no, MM. Their names are so difficult for me to roll off. But MM asked Akechi, had he ever been engaged? And he said yes, he had been engaged. It was like 12 years ago. He was in his early 20s. Didn't last long. They mutually agreed to break off the engagement. Bottom line, there was infidelity. He cheated. And people do things and they don't like to talk about it. And I understand. You hopefully it's because of the shame. You're embarrassed. And there's nothing wrong with being embarrassed, because if you're embarrassed, then you won't do it again. But he had been engaged 12 years ago, and he was discussing with her close friends that what he's learned over the years is when someone is speaking to him, he's learned how to listen to what they say. He intently listens to what they say. And he says, when they tell me something, believe them. I believe them. So if somebody says I'm crazy, I'm not going to say, oh, no, you're not crazy. And then later on, they show me they're crazy. Because I'm going to say, oh, they did tell me that. So he says, when someone tells me something, I believe it. MM was with Ikechi's family. We're going to call him Ike because I can't say Ikechi and MM. So Ike and MM, I can say that. So MM was with Ike's family, and they were just sharing how he's looking for a unicorn. He's looking for some mythical creature that is just perfect in every sense of its being. And while we know, I guess, perfection in the sense of the word, in context of the word, does not exist. However, for what is right for you, perfection can exist. So he's looking for his fit, and he later on explains that to MM when she brings it up, because she's like, I'm not perfect and I can't be. And he's like, no, I understand. At first I felt like his body language and his facial expressions, they don't do it for me, because they kind of give stoic. So I'm like, don't just sit up there and look at me like this wall. He gives a little animated to a certain extent. Both of them give me animated, because her mannerisms and her body language is very theatrical. I don't know if it's nerves, or I don't know if it's who she really is. Part of it me says that's who she really is. That's part of her personality. Ike, on the other hand, I don't know if he's just giving me something that he thinks that we want to see, or just, shucking and jiving for the camera. But nonetheless, they talk, and she is okay with what he said as far as him looking for his right fit. And that's better than saying that you're looking for perfection, because if you're not willing to extend perfection, then you shouldn't be expecting to receive perfection. Then we have Michelle and David. I saved them for last because Michelle she's the one right now so far that I see is going to rub me raw. They discussed their night. They tossed and turned. They did not sleep well. And she is still on this living with the parents bag. It's like, girl, you heard it, receive it. Like she said, process it, because it's still taking her a long time to process everything. So process it, swallow it, and let's move on to something else. Because I just can't stand right now her harping on him living with his parents. Honestly, a lot of people to nowadays are moving back home with their parents because the economy is hooked. Okay? I don't even know what to say. Like, first and foremost, he doesn't live in the same dwelling space. There's a whole nother separate part of the house. It's the basement. I know in states that have basements, it's not like your standard you going down the stairs and it's some dark, dank looking boogeyman layer. But he said he has a separate entrance. He has a bathroom. He has a bed. It's a 2-bedroom one bath. He has washer and dryer. He has like a little kitchen. Like, I'll go chill over there. I wouldn't stay, but I would definitely go chill. It sounds real quaint and cozy. And like he said, why spend $1,700 on a one bedroom when I could shoot my parents some money and be saving at the same time for something that can be mine? He has 2 jobs. So I'm not going to say that he isn't ambitious. I'm going to say that he made a sound, conscious decision and said, fiscally, this would be more ideal. And you should never, David, do not apologize for your decisions that you made soundly. Also, you should not be embarrassed. There is no reason to be embarrassed about how you choose to live, especially if you're not embarrassed by it. In this case, living with your parents, you shouldn't apologize for it, and you shouldn't be embarrassed about it. Because it's a choice. It's not like you're doing it by force. You're doing it by choice. So there's nothing to be embarrassed about. A sound, and I'm going to say it this way, a sound fiscal decision. So then David is talking with Michelle's family, her sister, her mom, and I don't know who that other lady is. But he's speaking with the ladies, and he shares with them, even though Michelle had already shared it at the reception and told him that's why she was in the bathroom crying the way she was, because they had her all up in arms. But they played it off like they didn't know. And he was just like, that has been the elephant in the room with us right now, because, she's still processing not only that, but the marriage and everything. And I think that I've just been, trying to be open and get information from her and share information from her, that it's just been a little overwhelming at this point. And then old girl that I don't know exactly what her relation is to the relations, but she's like, that just means you need to pump your brakes and back off. And I was like, and you need to get the fuck up out of my face. Like, I don't know why people don't feel like there's a way to say things without being so snarky or obnoxious. They're like, oh, I'm just being blunt. No, you're really being rude. And you need to know the difference, because there is. Then I want to call him Jason Momoa. Oh my God. And then David's mother asked Michelle, what are her pet peeves? And she said, men who wear flip-flops. Like, there is a time for a flip-flop. There's a time for a sandal, boo-boo. And he should be entitled to wear them. So she has a issue with men who wear flip-flop. That is so superficial to me and unnecessary and does not matter. Like, what difference? It doesn't matter. But that's her pet peeve. Then later on, Michelle shared with David that she started crying at the reception. And he was like, oh, wow, I didn't even know that. And he's like, I'm so sorry. He apologizes because he feels like maybe it was something that he might have done or anything. Either way, he was apologetic and he extended her that. And she was like, oh no, it had nothing to do with you. It was all on me. I was just overwhelmed. It was just so much. And you were just having such a good time living it up. And I'm over here freaking out. She's going to rub me raw. And then, so finally, they're getting prepared for the honeymoon. And the couples finally meet on the party bus. They get acquainted with each other. And Michelle has to point out that she's observed that, wow, the couple seem like they're so close and touchy-feely and seem like they really like each other, where she treating David like he got COVID and she's quarantining. So, I mean, that was so blatant and so obvious until it was uncomfortable to even look at, because it's like, do you just not like him? Was it from the fact when he said that he lived with his parents? You did express that was a turnoff. So from that moment, were you turned off? Because you are married. If you planned on staying married, you're not moving into said living quarters where his parents live. I hope that he is got something, a nest egg established, so when this magic moment came along, he was ready to leave the nest. I don't think he anticipated for his bride to move in to said abode. So the couples meet. They board the plane. They arrive in Cancun. They're at the resort. And Madison gives a toast. I guess it was a limerick. I guess she's of Irish background. So she gave a limerick. It was long and unnecessary. And yeah, it had something about spreading legs and eases and diseases and I don't know. These people. So then they have like a little happy hour meet and greet where the couple sit around and they're just talking and sharing with each other. And I couldn't help but observe that Ike had become very affectionate with MM. I was like, I can't say that I've seen you this close up on her since you said I do. Like, I didn't see it at this is the same man that extended a handshake. He wanted to shake her hand. Now he like all got his arms around her waist and just all over her. And I'm like, okay, so now it takes me back to what the friend asked. Are you ready for marriage? Are you looking? Or is this just for show? Then I also couldn't help but observe that when they were sitting in this little circle with their meet and greet, that everybody else, their body language, Thomas has his arm around Camille. Like I said, Ike is all up under MM. Then we got Madison and David. They're very comfortable and just lounging. We got Carla and Juan. They're comfortable with each other. But then you got Michelle sitting way over here with David right here. The space, it was so much space and opportunity between them for either one to just get up and walk away. It was cringe. So then we get back to the following day. And David's back to the room. And she was like telling him about his alarms. And he's like, oh yeah, I'm going to have to change those. And he reiterates why they're set the way they're set, because it's his workout and work alarms. He gets up usually 4:45, and that's where he starts his day. So he's a creature of habit, and he's systematic. I'm the same way. I turn my alarm when my alarm goes off. Usually I'm woken up before my alarm goes off. The Lord wakes me up very early. And but when it does go off, I hit snooze. And I'm up out of bed, I'm getting ready, and it goes off every 10 minutes. So I use that as a timer. I have from the time I get up until it's time for me to walk out my front door. I use it as a timer, saying, okay, I have this amount of time to do this. I have this amount of time to do this. It keeps me. And so sometimes I forget, and when I go on vacation, said alarms are still on. So I have to say, oh, let me turn this off, and I got to remember to turn it back on when I get home. I'm just a creature of habit, so I get it. So then she says she notices that he didn't sleep in the bed with her last night. He said, oh no, I slept on the couch. I said, oh, there it is. He said, well, she don't want to be bothered, so I'm not going to bother her. I don't feel comfortable. I'm going to just go ahead and sleep in the couch. And she was like, oh, really? He's like, yeah, I was up late and I was watching movies, and then I got some chicken tacos. She was like, you got chicken tacos? And he was like, yeah, I ate a few chicken tacos before I went to sleep, and I was just chilling. And she was like, what time was this? He was like, well, 1:45, between 1:45, 1:30, something like that. And she's like, wow, that's really late to be eating. And I'm like, that is so critical of you to say. Like, who are you to police what I put in my mouth, bitch? I can eat whatever time I want. If I want to get my ass up right now and go in my freezer and get my Cold Stone ice cream with all my delicious mix-ins, it's my prerogative. I can do just what I feel. I'm living my life. So he slept on the couch. And I could tell in her face that she felt it. And she was like, well, if he doesn't even want to sleep in the bed with me, bitch, are you making him feel welcomed and comfortable to want to come back in that room with you? I don't think so. Besides, that was at that hotel. Y'all at this resort. Y'all in Mexico. He's like, I am going to enjoy this vacation. Bump honeymoon. This is a vacation and I'm going to enjoy it. And because he wanted to get some sleep. He did not sleep the night before, or the nights before they left to go to Mexico. When they were in that hotel, he did not sleep in that suite. Ask yourself, Michelle, maybe you still didn't sleep, but he got him some sleep. He enjoyed himself. He ate his chicken tacos, he watched him some TV, and he went to bed. Now we find out that Ike and MM are having a cute little conversation about different delicacies like chitterlings and I guess, I don't know, I'm gonna throw it in there, pork souse and what else? What she say? Hog maws? What else? I don't know. Just different things that not everyone eats. It's an acquired taste, and chitlins is one of them, because everybody can't cook them right. Like, you was eating out, you was eating a whole pig's ass, so you got to make sure it's right. But yeah, she was like, you don't eat this. And he's like, I don't eat meat. So when he said that, I was like, oh, say less. You ain't even got to worry about anything you say to him right now. It's gonna be any meat product. It's gonna be a turn off because he don't eat meat. So okay. Now, I'm gonna remember you said that, Ike. I bet not see you put a beef jerky. I bet not see you put a Slim Jim. I bet not see you put nothing of the sorts in your mouth. Not a lamb chop pop. Not I don't even want to see seitan. Is that how they pronounce it? Seitan? The vegan chicken? I don't even want to see that. You can have tofu. You can have tofu. You can make it be anything you want. You can turn it into salmon. You can turn it into chicken. You can turn it whatever you want your tofu to be. That's what you eat. But I'm just saying, I bet not see you with nothing on your lips other than her meat. Then I couldn't help but observe when they was getting in the water, and he seemed like he was real hesitant, like he was like having some anxiety about taking his shirt off. Maybe he wasn't comfortable with what was under the shirt, but he did take the shirt off. And I have to say, he has some ugly nipples. They are so dark. They like about this size. His nipples are like this size, but they dark, and they just he need to put something on them, lighten them up just a little bit. Get some of that Palmer's cream and rub on them. Noxzema, something. All right, that concludes our review of Married at First Sight. So far so good. I mean, like I said, it's these Michelle is gonna be the one that rubs me wrong. I can already tell. I don't want David to feel like he has to take her shit, because he doesn't. I am seeing that Juan Pablo has no problem speaking his mind, and I don't think Carla manifested that she might be told no. I don't think she saw that in the clouds, because her thing is money is energy, but her energy is low. Even though she portrays good high energy, if money is energy, her energy is very low. Let me know what you thought in the comment section. Let me know what you thought of this episode. Tell me who you think is going to rub you raw in this season, because for me, I know it's going to be Michelle is one of them. She is A1 right now with just annoying the freak out of me. But as always, I thank you for spending time with me, and I thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. And until next time, bye.